always look forward to spending some time with our good friend, Dennis Horton. He's the director of the Rockford Regional Office of the Better Business Bureau. Dennis, good morning to you.
Good morning, Riley. How's it going?
I've got nothing to complain about this morning, and you?
Oh, same.
Good.
Same.
Good to know, except for there's always people out there who are, well, working the other side of the fabric of society, trying to get into our wallet, which is, why the BBB is there. Stand up for you, make sure things go smoothly. What are we looking at this morning? I see meeting a Stormchaser is on our list.
Well, Riley, a couple of weeks ago, I was out of town, and while out of town, I was happened to be in Miami, and while visiting with friends, we were taking a walk along the boardwalk, and decided to stop at actually a really great hotel there, go to the bar, have a cocktail at the Fontainebleau. We walked in and we sat down and met a gentleman at the bar, which happens often when you go to bars.
Sounds like it became a great joke.
Well, this gentleman offered to buy the three of us a cocktail. We refused because, one, it was a sweet pineapple martini.
Yeah, ew.
And yet there is something wrong with that. But nonetheless, in the introductions, he asked what we all did. And it came to me, and he found out that I was with the Better Business Bureau. He said, "Oh, I've been kicked out of 4 Better Business Bureaus."
Oh.
I said, "Really? How did that happen?"
Yeah.
Well, I have 3 different businesses. I'm a contractor. I own RV parks, and I have self-storage units in Texas. And I hire really mean women to manage my storage units in Texas, so I don't have any problems there. And he said the RV parks, pretty much the same thing, they're not the higher echelon RV parks, but, people come, they enjoy themselves. But my contracting business, what I do is I go into communities, he says, and we leaflet, thousands of leaflets on porches to do driveways and sidewalks and repair and those sort of things. And we sign people up. We demand that they give us 50% of the cost. Now, we are trying to undercut everybody in the market, so a lot of the times we get the business. We do the job. We know it's a substandard job. But when they try to complain with us, we've already picked up and moved along.
Wow.
And I said,
wow.
Really? And then he said to me, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but this is what they call your storm chasers. And I said, I'm fully aware of, of what a storm chaser is, and I spend a lot of time warning people about businesses like you. Riley, the thing about having met this, being in the BBB now for 18 years, I've never met face-to-face with a storm chaser. I've talked to people who, for one reason or another, their business has gone south and things just haven't turned out well, and they amassed a number of complaints, but they didn't really intend to do it. But in talking with this gentleman, loosely speaking,
right,
this is his business model.
And it seems as though he was unabashed about telling you that this is the way we do things, even knowing what it is you do for a living. He had absolutely no qualms. It reached a point where I had to excuse myself and go to the restroom because I was getting a little angry. Sure.
And, not wanting to make a scene. It really... it was one very disappointing to know that, yes, I know that there are scammers out there and there are bad business people, but to meet face-to-face with someone who is literally proud of what they are doing and that they have absolutely no compunctions about doing it and harming others without regard to the damage they're doing.
Yeah, that's stunning. Yeah, we know it's subpar work, but by the time everyone gets wise, we've pulled up stakes. We're long gone. We're in the wind at that point.
Exactly, and he really, it just didn't matter to him. And when you meet someone like that, it makes it even more important that we warn people about, and it's coming up at the time of the year when you and I will be talking about Stormchasers.
Sure.
That having met this person, knowing that they exist, but having met them, knowing that it is a planned action that they're going to be taking here in the Rockford area and all across this country. There will be thousands of other people who do business like he does, who wait for bad things to befall others and then take advantage of them.
Yep, and under the under the idea that I'm here to help you, we're here to make things better, we're here to save you some money. But by the time all is rolled out, it's cost them money, and the person who did it is long gone.
There is a little good news in this. It's karma. The gentleman was in Miami for the Super Bowl. He didn't have enough tickets for him and his whole family, so he figured he would scalp some tickets. And the bartender there asked him, tell him the story about what happened with you and the tickets. And as it turned out, he, trying to scalp tickets, purchased 4 tickets for the Super Bowl at $1,800. Now, that alone should tell you something's wrong.
Right.
Well, the 4 tickets that he purchased at $1,800 were all counterfeit. So when he walks up to the stadium to get in with those fraudulent tickets, he was turned away.
Oh, outstanding. A little taste of his own medicine.
Right, but and he was incredulous. He was just angry as could be because he had been scammed.
Unbelievable. Yeah, there are other people exactly like you out there, sir. And this was your chance to learn that.
Right.
Wow. So, yeah, when you hear that term Stormchaser and you're trying to attach an image to it, think back on Dennis's story, because I've got an image in my head of this guy, and you haven't described him at all, but I have an idea of what he might look like. But know that they're out there. They really do exactly like you have discussed with us many times. Right,
and it is their method of doing business.
Oh, man. So be very, very careful. The idea that, okay, yeah, they've undercut anybody around town by $50. What's it going to cost you in the long run? That's why you make the call to the Better Business Bureau and find out guys like this guy have been kicked off how many?
4 BBBs.
4 BBBs. Okay.
Right. So you shop locally.
Yeah, always. And when in doubt, contact the BBB and get some bona fides from who you're doing some business with.
Even if it's a business who is local, we can tell you about them.
Yeah, and all it takes is a phone call, and you don't get an invoice for it. What about tax ID fraud I see on the list?
The IRS scam call continue to come in unabated to the office, and now what we are more concerned about is that with tax day approaching April 15th, we need to have people make sure that they are getting their taxes done before you fall victim to ID theft and tax ID fraud. Imposters are using every method that they can to get you to provide them information so that they can go online and file a tax return in your name. So it is more important than ever to not provide anyone who calls you with a threat that they're from the IRS. And you need to provide your Social Security number to them so that they can help you fix any problem that there is. They really, truly are, more often than not, in this case, going to try to file a tax return in your name. And it's happening thousands of times. So it's important that you make sure that you get your taxes filed early.
Yeah, get them filed early and get them filed by someone who's properly been vetted as well, not a friend of a friend who can save you all kinds of money because he knows a back door to get into the IRS and get you that refund quicker.
That's right. And the thing is, too, that you won't know that anything has gone wrong until you try to file your taxes. If you do it yourself, you will be notified that there's a duplicate return has been filed under that number. So you won't know what's happened. And then you're going to have to try to figure it all out, and your tax return is going to be delayed because of that.
Yep, and no word on how long those things are delayed too, right?
That's right. You don't know. They're going to do their investigation to make sure that you're not trying to scam the IRS.
Okay. So, yeah, one scam leads into another one to where they look at you as thinking perhaps you're pulling a stunt. Yeah, you don't want any of those things. So be very careful. And as far as the IRS going about contacting people, I know you get those phone calls and, a warrant's going to be issued for your arrest. How does the IRS make contact should they need to?
They will only contact you by mail. And if you don't respond to that first letter, you will get another letter that'll be certified mail. So they're going to try to reach you, but they're not going to be calling you, and they're not going to email you, and they're not going to text you.
Okay.
So if you get a letter, but even if you do get a letter, make sure that you go to the IRS website or look them up in the phone book to call a number that you can be certain is actually the IRS.
Yeah, because that letter that you get, they'll contact me by letter. Well, yeah, if you call that number, how do you know that number even checks out? It could just be phony as the rest of the letter.
That's right. We have to be very vigilant with almost everything we do today.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people out there trying to reach into the pocket, which brings us to the ever-changing Social Security scam.
This one really does also surprise you. Every time we talk, Riley, something new is surprising me.
Sure.
And this one is a Social Security scam. Now, those Social Security calls that we have been getting, all of us have been getting for what seems like a decade now,
right?
Continue. And they work the same way that you get the call and there's a threat that your Social Security number has been used in some fraudulent activity someplace else in the country. You need to press 1 and talk to a representative who can help you straighten this out. Well, Dwayne, here in our office, his daughter works for the Social Security Administration. And in Wausau, Wisconsin last week, this scam started to appear. You still get the IRS call, but when you get the call, and you press 1, they will actually, through three-way dialing, connect you to a local Social Security Administration office. Thing is that they remain on the line, and while you're trying to explain that you got a call, and the person that you're talking to, the actual IRS representative you are talking to, is going to be asking you for personal information so they can look up your records and see if there is anything that's happening. The scammer is on the line listening and getting all of the information that you are providing. So.
Oh, wow. Wow, it's like they've got your phone tapped.
Exactly it. Through three-way calling, they do, in fact, connect you to an IRS representative. And they will wait, as long as you wait, for that information to the representative so you can provide the information to try to figure out what's going on. The IRS, aware of that now, has instructed, as Dwayne's daughter has told us, has instructed all of their representatives to ask you how were you connected to the office before they begin asking you any questions.
Oh, good to know. So we could expose the person who's listening in on the other end by saying, well, the guy who's on the phone with us right now is the guy who connected me.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was connected through a person who called me, and they will know then that they should not continue the conversation.
Outstanding. Wow. Just when you think you've seen every variation, every mutation on this particular scam, they find a new wrinkle for it.
Every time, as I say all the time, they are brilliant. If they put their brains to good use, they could cure cancer.
Yeah, and then figure out a way to screw you over on a phone call with it. So, yeah.
Exactly.
That's the way the ball rolls with these guys. So be very, very careful when you get that sort of information. And, we'll connect you. No, that's all right. I'll connect myself. Thank you very much for the heads up.
Exactly. So as we always say, when you get an IRS call from anybody saying they're from the IRS, just hang up.
Fine idea. They'll get back in touch with you. Now, for people who want to get in touch, they want to talk to you, they want to talk to the indispensable Dwayne or anybody else in the office, what do they do?
Give us a call at 815-963-2222.
BBB is working hard for you every single day, and that means sitting there with a pineapple martini around you listening to some deadbeat who talks about how he rips people off. That is going above and beyond the call of duty. Dennis, as always, we appreciate the information and we appreciate your time. We'll look forward to our next get-together.
Thank you much, Riley.